Welcome back to another episode of the Sports Den. I'm Daniel. As always, coming to you from a secret location where today's topic is NFL free agency. I can't remember a period in the NFL offseason that has been more exciting than this year's NFL free agency. Over the past month and a half, we've seen some big name players, superstar players change zip codes. Tom Brady, who I never thought would leave the New England Patriots, is now playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. DeAndre Hopkins, the former Houston Texans all-world, all-pro wide receiver, is now playing for the Arizona Cardinals after Houston Texans head coach Bill O'Brien made probably the dumbass trade of the decade or maybe the century by sending DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals in exchange for David Johnson, who has been a shell of himself for the past couple of years. And now the Texans not only take on David Johnson's huge, ridiculous contract and his injury issues, but the Houston Texans did not even get the Arizona Cardinals' top 10 draft pick in exchange for DeAndre Hopkins. Now, not that I would have traded DeAndre Hopkins in the first place, but Houston Texans, if you're going to trade DeAndre Hopkins, you obviously have a gaping hole at wide receiver. Deshaun Watson has nobody to throw to. It would behoove you, if you're the Houston Texans, to at least get the Arizona Cardinals' top 10 pick, because you could draft one of the wide receivers in this upcoming NFL draft, because this is hands down by many who have said that this is probably one of the greatest wide receiver classes over the past 5 or 10 years. You could have, if you're the Houston Texans, if you had gotten that pick, could have used that pick to get CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, the list goes on and on. But at the same time, you don't trade an all-world generational talent like DeAndre Hopkins, who's at least a top 3 talent in this game, a top 3 wide receiver. So if nothing else, the Arizona Cardinals got better, the Houston Texans got slightly worse. And don't be surprised if the Arizona Cardinals make some noise and possibly get in as a wild card, because you give Kyler Murray, the Cardinals' second-year quarterback who had a pretty good year last year, you now give him DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, and Christian Kirk to throw to. And don't be surprised if the Arizona Cardinals, if they don't go with an offensive lineman in this draft, that they don't try to stock up and get another receiver and give Kyler Murray another weapon to throw to. But moving on to free agency, another huge move that I love as a New Orleans Saints fan is the Saints getting Emmanuel Sanders, the wide receiver free agent from the San Francisco 49ers. Emmanuel Sanders torched the Saints in that epic regular season shootout in the Dome last year, but now Emmanuel Sanders has come to the Bayou and is going to pair with Michael Thomas. The New Orleans Saints have not had a viable wide receiver threat next to Michael Thomas since he's been there. Michael Thomas led the league in receptions last year with 149, and now you add another threat, another perimeter threat, and Emmanuel Sanders to go along with him, coupled with an offense that features Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, and also Jared Cook. The New Orleans Saints could be right back in contention again this year. But also, the other move I love as a New Orleans Saints fan was a very underrated move that they made, and that's the Saints signing Malcolm Jenkins. Sean Payton, the Saints head coach, has always said for years that was one of his biggest regrets, letting Malcolm Jenkins walk in free agency. I was pissed about the move, like a lot of Saints fans, also when Malcolm Jenkins was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles years ago. But now, Sean Payton has righted that wrong, and now Malcolm Jenkins has come home, and he's going to solidify a secondary that struggled down the stretch, including the postseason. And Malcolm Jenkins, having him coupled with Marcus Williams, and now having Janoris Jenkins on one side, Marshawn Lattimore on the other, the New Orleans Saints are going to be in playoff contention once again, because Drew Brees just recently signed his 2-year contract. The Saints know that their window to win a championship gets smaller and smaller each year that they lose, and Drew Brees ain't getting any younger because Drew Brees is 41 years old. But moving on to free agency, speaking of the Saints, former Saints quarterback Teddy Bridgewater has now moved on to the Carolina Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater got broke off and got a $63 million contract. I'm happy for Teddy Bridgewater that he got his money, because I know it was a struggle for him deciding whether he should come back to New Orleans or move on to greener pastures, but you can't be mad at that. Bridgewater deserves to be a starter, given everything he went through with the horrific leg injury, and also what he did in relief for Drew Brees last year, winning those 5 games for the Saints. An argument could be made that had Bridgewater not gone 5-0 as a starter, if he didn't have those 5 wins to go along with the Saints, help them get to 13 wins, the Saints don't even make the playoffs. You take away Teddy Bridgewater's 5 wins as a starter while Drew Brees was out for an injury, the Saints are 8-8 and don't even make the playoffs. So I'm happy for Teddy Bridgewater, but Teddy B, I can't root for you when you play my Saints. Obviously, I'll be rooting for the Saints. In other news, speaking of the Carolina Panthers, the Panthers just flat out cut their former league MVP quarterback Cam Newton, who's still looking for work. It's hard to believe that Cam Newton, an NFL MVP back in 2015, who led the Panthers to the Super Bowl and made multiple Pro Bowls and was an all-world talent, can't even find a job. I would have thought by now that Cam Newton would have been picked up by somebody. You know, the LA Chargers, the New England Patriots, and other quarterback-needy teams, but Cam Newton is still searching for a job. Another quarterback, another former first-round number 1 overall pick is looking for work, and that's Jameis Winston. Obviously, with the Buccaneers signing Tom Brady, Jameis Winston is on an unemployment line as well. Jameis Winston led the league in passing yards last year with over 5,000. But the thing that's scaring teams aware about Jameis Winston is the fact that he had 30 interceptions to 30 touchdowns. But at the same time, Jameis Winston, given his penchant for throwing turnovers, throwing interceptions, the guy can still play, and he also should be employed somewhere because there are plenty of teams out there that need a quarterback. So I want to know from you guys out there, of the free agent moves that have been made so far, which one do you think will make the biggest impact? Is it Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, Emmanuel Sanders in New Orleans, Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina, or some other free agent signing that just happened? Or maybe even DeAndre Hopkins with the Arizona Cardinals. As always, I want your guys' feedback. I want to know what you think out there. Leave your comments below. We'll do it again next time. And more importantly, everybody stay safe out there because the coronavirus is nothing to play with. We'll do it again next time. I'll see you then, and I'm out.